111. Hello, hello, hello. 1, 2, 3. This is Michal from LED Strip Studio, and hopefully you can hear me properly. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Great. My assistant Ben is nodding with his head, so that is a confirmation that you can probably hear me, or at least he can hear me. And yeah, once again, if you have any troubles with hearing me properly, please let me know, and we will tweak with the settings of the sound. Hopefully you can also see me properly. Once again, I'm Michael, and today I will be talking on this webinar about the standalone capabilities of our controllers, namely LEC3 SPI matrix. I will touch the SPI LED controller and also what are the capabilities for standalone control and triggers for this little controller. If you have any questions, there is a chat available in the YouTube, so you can type in your messages and I will answer those as quickly as possible. The webinar will be available later on YouTube, so you can go back to it, and also whoever is interested to get the presentation that I have prepared with the links, also send us a message on WhatsApp or send us an email and I will share that with you as well. And I will also share the link in the description of the webinar afterwards. So if there are no requests in terms of sound, then I think that we can jump into the webinar itself. What you can probably see on the table, if we can switch to that, Ben. Right now I have here one SPI matrix which is activated for our custom protocol. So, but basically it's the same device as this guy over here, LEC3. They are the same. However, this one gets a lifetime license. This one you need to use ArtNet, but they are basically the same. So I will be working with this device and also with small SPI LED controller. I've got a bunch of other stuff and I will get to it in time. So what are the standalone capabilities? And we can go into the presentation, Ben. Standalone capabilities of our devices. Firstly, though, I will just quickly mention that LED Strip Studio is a brand that is on the market for over 15 years. We are your one-stop producer for anything related to pixel LEDs or analog LEDs. We've got our own software, LED Strip Studio software, 3rd version currently. The flagship controllers that we are providing are LEC3 and SPI matrix, as I mentioned. One comes with a lifetime license and the other you can use with third-party ArtNet software, any kind that is available. Also, we've got a small controller, REACTIVO, and the SPI LED controller that I have mentioned. We are located in Bratislava, Central Europe, and we are within EU. And yeah, the shipping is very fast, so if you are worried about when the controller can come up to you, don't worry. Around Europe it's up to 3 days and up to 5 days worldwide, so don't worry about deliveries. We've done a lot of TV studios in the past. We've also done a lot of installations, both permanent and just for events. And also we are doing some custom development for clients that request some special pixels or some special controllers. We've got a wide range of devices that you can find on our page, which is ledstripstudio.com. And there you can find all the products, all the controllers and everything that is basically available. We've got a shop available where you can find the prices for the devices and for the gadgets that we are offering. So there is a ton of stuff that you can scroll through and look for. Also, we've got a wiki where you can find all the information, and I will go to wiki from time to time to show you where to find the information related to individual controllers or functions. So the page is a great source for information for you. Yeah, other than that, if you have any questions related to our devices, reach out on WhatsApp, Instagram, any social media basically, or write us on chat. That is also available on our page, and we'll be more than happy to answer as soon as possible to any request that you might have. So that is about the brand, and currently what I'm doing, I am controlling the effects played on the LED strips from the software. I've put down the brightness significantly. So I've got a bunch of effects created in the software, and currently I am controlling it live from the software. So I can scroll through the animations, and this is a great way how to play the effects. However, this webinar will be focused on a different approach, and that is probably the main difference between the standalone capabilities and the live control capabilities that you get with any kind of software. So what is the difference between live and standalone? Obviously, if you've got a PC on site that is running a specialized software that is sending out the content onto your LED pixels or to your LED controller, then you can control it live, and all the aspects of the content that you are playing, such as speed, the brightness, what effects are actually playing, and you can, or perhaps a better way to put it, good approach how to use this. The live control is on live events, concerts, probably on some music performances also, and because you've got the ability to control everything live. You can control the software and the content that is playing from the software with good old DMX, ArtNet. You can use MIDI, or you can use timecode, for example. So these are like the basic options that you have to control live the content that is playing on your pixels. However, you don't have the PC available all the time. There are certain types of installations where you can't have the PC running 24/7 to play the content on your LED pixels. Hence, the option to control the content with any means without the PC. The good use cases or examples for this might be smart home installations, or installations on places that are hard to access, and you don't have an option to leave PC running there 24/7, or perhaps some permanent installations where you will only create a bunch of effects in the software, and then you will play those effects with a push of a button or with an app, or simply by turning on the device. So that is, those are the use cases that you can use the standalone capabilities to control the effects playing on your pixels. Basic options that you can use and utilize for this are DMX again, ArtNet also you can use to control the effects, then HTTP triggers, LSS remote app that is available for Android and also for iOS, where you can control different aspects of the animations, and also you can play the animations. Or if you have access to the device, if the device is on the same network as your phone, then you can use good old web config, which is an HTML page built in the SPI matrix or LEC3. You can access it, you can access the web player, you can scroll through animations, and you have live control available. We will go through all these, and we will probably start with, if there are no questions in regards to this, probably not, we will start with DMX. I will do one more thing within the software. Perhaps I can move this a little bit. As I've said, currently I am playing the content from the software, but I don't want that. A good way how you can double check what is the current status of the device is if you will go into the web config that you can access. If you type in your web browser the IP of the device, mine is standard ending with 147, and you can see in the status bar that the device is currently in an Ethernet mode. That means that it is controlled through the software. In order to change this, or to cut off the software from controlling the device, you can go in the software, into tools, and hit export scene. This is like a workaround if you don't want to turn off your software completely. You want to keep it running because perhaps you want to test whether you have your triggers set up correctly. So this is a workaround how to turn off the output from the software. That will leave you, it will go back into the status bar in the web config with device that is currently in an autoplay mode. There is not a Ethernet mode icon anymore. That means that it is in autoplay and you can use any triggers available. So this is like a nice little trick that you can use to turn off the output from the software going into your device. DMX and ArtNet, these two are basically the same, or the settings for these two in terms of standalone capabilities and controller and triggers are basically the same. You can use any kind of software or hardware. I've got a DMX console on the table, but it can be a wall-mounted panel that you can use to control specific animations or to trigger specific animations, or change the speed or the brightness or recolor the animations that you have on an SD card. And once again, it is very important to remember that within standalone mode, you are playing the effects that are stored on an SD card. So you have to prepare your effects beforehand, store them on an SD card, upload through network or manually, and then you can play those effects using different means, different triggers. So make sure that you're familiar with the software, that you can export the effects. All the info you can find on the wiki page or on our YouTube. All the videos are available there. On the front panel itself, if we will go back into the DMX, on the front panel itself of the LEC3, you can find two ports. So pretty obvious, right? This one is for your DMX in, so the DMX data going into the device, and this is for your DMX out. You can daisy chain multiple devices in a row and control with single DMX source multiple controllers, even in a standalone mode. A good use case for DMX and standalone would be most probably some smart home installations where you can use popular systems like Control4 or Loxon that all have capabilities to send out DMX, thus controlling the content from the card. In order to use DMX to control the content from the card, you have to save 7 channels or reserve. That is a hard one. Reserve 7 channels, and those 7 channels will be used to control the brightness of the effect. With the second channel, you will select which effect you want to actually trigger. You will control the speed, and also you can recolor your effects in red, green, blue, or if you're using RGB strip, you can also recolor your effect, any effect that is running, in a white color. I've got to show you how this actually works. I've got this panel, or this DMX console, which I can connect on the front panel into DMX in. The device recognizes that there is a DMX signal going in, so the orange LED, the middle one, flashes rapidly on the device. So currently it is receiving DMX signal. If you don't have access to that LED because your controller is well hidden somewhere, then don't worry. You can still and always use the web config, where you can see currently that the device is in a DMX card mode. There are 2 DMX modes that are available: pixels, with which you will control individual pixels with 3 channels, or SD card mode, with which you control where you have to save or reserve those 7 channels and you control the content played from the SD card. So you can see currently we are in an SD card mode. DMX in is connected, DMX data is flowing from my console into the device, and I can, with the DMX panel, I can select, or I can first perhaps increase the brightness, so that would be my first channel. Then I can select an animation, and I can set the speed for that animation. So these are the 3 channels, and then I've got, if I want to recolor the animations, this would be red, green, blue, I'm not using RGBW strips. I don't have a white LED inside, so the 7th channel is basically useless to me. But it would illustrate how you would use DMX to control the content from the card. So remember, you have to reserve 7 channels, then you can use DMX to trigger the effects from your device. As I have mentioned already, you can have multiple such controllers controlled with DMX and also synchronized with DMX. I would refer to go onto our wiki page and find this article in it, where you can find all the information how to synchronize multiple devices and use DMX to not only control the effects but also synchronize multiple devices. Because obviously if you have multiple controllers and you want to play an effect or a video effect on multiple controllers, after some time, if you will trigger those in a single moment, after some time these effects will be desynchronized. So you have to find a way, basically you have to send a time code to your devices to which they will synchronize. DMX synchronization is one option, and I strongly recommend, if you want to use multiple devices, to go onto our wiki and read this article. A good feature of DMX is that you can use pretty long cables, and if you have already some cabling in place, you can utilize that cabling for control of your devices. So it can be, I think, up to 300 meters in length, and even though the devices, our devices have 3-pin XLR connectors, for DMX there is an option also to add a 5-pin version for anyone who might need this or want this. So on request we can switch the connectors for 5 pins, and you can use it to control your devices. Our solution for so you can have a wall-mounted panel, you can have the software running on your PC, which is not that standalone, right? But you can still have it. You can have such DMX console that I have here, or you can use our solution, which we call DMX TRX. And it is this little box here. Well, little. It's basically the same size as the SPI matrix, so it's using the same box, the same case. And this would allow you to connect 8 buttons with first button, okay, put it like this, with first button that will always turn everything off, and then you can have 7 animations, or you can trigger 7 animations with 7 buttons, with any kind of buttons that you want to use. So this is just something, some little panel that we've built, but really you can use any buttons that you want. You can find on in the eShop the technical specification for the DMX TRX, so that you can study what buttons, for example, you can use for it. I will show you how it basically works. So imagine you don't have the DMX console, but you want to have some hardwired buttons installed somewhere on a wall, on a bar, and you want to use buttons to trigger the effects. So you would install the DMX TRX somewhere where it's available. You will introduce power to it, and then you would use a DMX cable. Again, so you would use the same DMX cable, 3-pin, and on DMX TRX you will go into the data out. So yeah, you guessed correctly, DMX TRX basically generates DMX. So we will connect it like this. We can once again double check the web config span, and you can see that it is in DMX SD card mode. If I will take it out, you can see DMX is disconnected, it's back in autoplay mode. So I will go back in, and then I can use my little buttons to switch the animations and to select the exact animation that I want. So I want animation number 7. I will simply push the button number 7 and the animation will play. If I want to turn everything off, I will push the first button and I will turn the output. So Ben is telling me that there is some issue with the stream quality. If someone can probably confirm this, because it's just YouTube telling us that the quality is not good enough, or there is not enough data flowing in, I don't know. So if you can probably just type in YouTube chat whether you can hear me properly, and then we will move along. Perhaps it's just YouTube telling us to buy faster internet. I don't know. If you have any troubles hearing us, please let us know, okay? Thanks. So thanks, Ben. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, DMX TRX. So a good option if you know that you will be using only several animations in your project, in your space or place, and you want to have a hardwired solution. You don't have a DMX console, you probably don't have any other hardware that can send out the DMX, you don't want a wall-mounted panel, DMX TRX is a good option for you. And one more thing also, as you can see, I'm using an Ethernet cable here, and this can be basically like very, very long. So you can have a centralized place where you will have your DMX TRX and the SPI matrix, and then the cable length from the device itself to your buttons can be very long. All the info you can find in the technical specification on our page. So this would be in regards to DMX. Hopefully I have mentioned everything that I have put down in here, and probably I did. So if there are any other questions, write them in the chat. And as I have mentioned, the settings for ArtNet would be very similar. So you have to set some channels available, and you can control the content from the card with ArtNet. I will just plug this back in. So for the SPI matrix and LEC3, you've got an option to use the DMX. You've got the similar option for the SPI LED controller. This little device over here, it can control 1024 pixels, and you can use DMX to trigger the effects. You can also use the DMX synchronization with this controller, so you can have multiple SPI LED controllers in a single row, and you can synchronize the content over multiple devices. I would again refer to some of our previous webinars where I'm talking about this very subject. The cable that you would use to send out the DMX data into your SPI LED controller is slightly different, because on the device itself, for the DMX in and out, we are not using XLR ports, but rather RJ45 ports. The reason is we like to use an Ethernet cable because it's available everywhere, and it's pretty cheap, and its capabilities and performance can be probably compared to DMX in some instances, obviously. So you have to you have to make your own cable that would have XLR on one side and RJ page, either in shop for the device itself or in products or in the manual for SPI LED controller. So once again, if you want to control the content, you will go into DMX in, connect your So perhaps there is an issue with the stream. Maybe we can have a very short break, and I will just check out whether we can rectify this. So give us a moment. One, 1, 2, 3. We've lowered the bitrate slightly, so hopefully the quality will be still good enough and you can hear us properly. Once again, if you will have any issues hearing us, let us know. You can find, as I mentioned, the schematics for the cable that you can produce for yourself on the page, and you can use the same DMX console or the same DMX TRX to control the content stored on an SD card. These can be the very same effects that you can use compared or similarly to the SPI matrix or the LEC3. There are two modes available for DMX with SPI LED controller, and every time you want to switch between the modes, you have to create a settings file. And I will show you in the software very quickly where you can find this. So we will close the export window, and in the other and SPI LED settings, you will select whether you want to use the device in a SD card mode or pixel mode. If you will select SD card mode, then again you will need to reserve 7 channels and you can control the 7 aspects of the animations, or that is speed, brightness, which animation you want to play, and you can recolor those animations as well. And you can use DMX to play the effects. So we can close or turn off the output from the software, and we will be back with the device in an autoplay mode, which is a default mode whenever the device is not receiving any data from the software, or it's not receiving DMX ArtNet, basically. So it will always go back to an autoplay mode. For REACTIVO, for the small controller, there is no option to use DMX because it does not have a DMX port, so you have to use some other methods for REACTIVO to trigger your effects from an SD card. You can perhaps put this onto the side. One of those options for REACTIVO would be to use HTTP triggers. And in order to use the HTTP triggers, you have to have your phone or your PC. Once again, I'm mentioning PC, so it's not that standalone, but it's also an option from the PC to use the HTTP triggers, because for that you need basically your web browser is enough to send out the HTTP triggers into your device and select a specific animation, for example. But in order to do that, you have to have your device, a phone, for example, on the same network as your controller. So my controller has an IP 192.168.1.147, and your phone has to be on the, for example, same router, or through a switch, it has to be on the same network, and you have to be within the same IP range. If you are looking for, or you are struggling with this network settings, go on to our YouTube and find the network settings webinar, which Michal prepared, and you can find basically all the information in regards to networking and how to set up manually IP address for your device, and there is a ton of stuff that you can learn from that video, so go check that one out. For the HTTP triggers, as I mentioned, you can use any web browser, and it can be also a specialized app that you can install on your Android or on your iPhone that can send out basic HTTP triggers to your device. The string of the trigger can have multiple values in it, so you can obviously select just one animation with the HTTP trigger, or you can select an animation, set up the brightness for it, set up the speed, and also you can recolor it. So you can have within a single string multiple values for different aspects of the animations. Tell me, Ben, is there a question? No, perfect. It would look, the basic trigger looks like this. So it would be the IP of your device, and then set autoplay and the command that you want to perform. You can find the full list of available triggers on our page, here. So again, you can go onto Wiki and just into search you will type in triggers or HTTP triggers, and you will find there this table. And you can build your string from these values. So first, obviously, would be this string up until the question mark, and then you can select different values. For example, you want to select animation, and the X you will switch for 3, for example. Or you want to have an option to select previous or next animation, or you want to change the brightness for the animation. All of this, obviously, you can do from the PC, but you can also use your phone. Don't switch to the phone yet, Ben, because I don't want to reveal our password. Perfect. If we can switch to the phone, I've prepared a bunch of HTTP triggers in my phone, and perhaps we can try and move the camera down. What do you think, Ben? The strips are visible? Perfect. So I've got a bunch of HTTP triggers. I've used this app that I was able to find, HTTP Shortcuts, it's called, and I have prepared a bunch of triggers here, and I will show you how they work. So, for example, I want to use the trigger for next animation. Sorry. We have to switch networks. We can check in LSS remote app whether we have access to our device, and it seems that we do. So we can go back into my HTTP triggers, and I, for example, want to use the next trigger or animation 4. So as you can see, I have used the animation 4. Wait a second, we can also use this little pen here. And I have triggered this animation. Or we can set, okay, this is too bright, so we can put it down onto 10%. Or I want to use a string where you have multiple values in it. And this one that I have created, as you can see, it says effect 5, speed 50%. So it will play the fifth effect stored on an SD card, and it will play it on 50% of the brightness. I have set up a HTTP trigger that will put the brightness back onto full or to 100. And this one I have set so that it will also reveal all the triggers that you can use. The previous triggers were running in a silent mode, so it was only triggering or only accessing that page and not showing anything. But if you would normally start the trigger from the web browser on your phone, it would also show you this page, and on this page you can find all the available triggers that you can use. So it's basically the same that I have shown you on in the wiki, the table. There are all available triggers there, but also you can find it if you will use the trigger with your phone, for example. Examples are pretty handy, that those you can use to basically test whether everything is working or whether you have access to your device. Obviously you can use phone, some specialized app, or you can use once again some smart home control systems like Shelly. I think there is also on the page, on the wiki, if we can go into that ban, there is also an example how we are using this smart home switch. These can also send out HTTP triggers into our devices through the network. So yeah, it doesn't have to be your phone or the web browser. It can be also some specialized control system like Shelly in this case. We've used it for a couple of projects here in our building, and we like to use it. It's pretty nicely done. Okay. So that would be in regards to HTTP triggers and its capabilities. Once again, you can use any browser on your phone or even on the PC and send out HTTP triggers into your devices, or you can use any specialized app that will basically do the same as your web browser. A nice feature is that you can have, if you can go back to phone, you can have it on your home screen and you can simply switch the animations, or yeah, you can have it on your phone, on your home screen, which is pretty nice feature. Any questions in regards to this, Ben? Perfect, okay. So these would be HTTP triggers, the same triggers you can use for REACTIVO. You can't use the HTTP triggers for SPI LED controller because it is not a network device. You can't connect it to your router, to your Wi-Fi network, or yeah, it's not a network device. So you can only export the effects onto an SD card and play them using DMX, for example. HTTP triggers, I think we've got covered. There is also an option to use another option to use LS's remote app. So another option to use your phone to control the effects played from an SD card. So once again, you have to be on the same network. You can use your Android phone or your iPhone, and you can open the app, and within the app you can control the effects. For example, playing. You can, thanks. So we will open LSS Remote app. We can see that on the network we've got a single SPI matrix device. If I will open it and I will click on an animation 4, the animation will change. Right, so basic options, you can also turn everything off. Basic options are available. Also, you can change the brightness for individual animations, or you can change the speed. So whenever you have an option to connect your phone to your device, LSS Remote is a good option how to control the content played on your pixels. Remember, you have to be on the same network and you have to have the effects prepared beforehand and stored on an SD card. I think this is, this is everything that I want to say in regards to LSS Remote app. There are some webinars available on YouTube you can find on our page. Also, more information about how the app works. The better device to use the app with would be REACTIVO, where you can set up multiple or much more things. You can do much more settings. With SPI Matrix is basically a player, but also it's an option available for any standalone projects. This I would think it's covered. Then we have our web config, or the autoplay tab within web config to be more precise. Web config, you already know how to access it. You will open your favorite web browser and you will type in the IP address, and there you will find autoplay tab. Within the autoplay tab, the very first option that you have is to set up the default file, change the speed, and set whether you want the animation to repeat or not. The default file is, and this is a setting that probably our customers, users are using the most whenever they are using the device like a content player. You will set up a default file, for example, I don't know, number 2. Don't forget to save the animation. And if I will turn the device off, we can show the table ban. If I will turn it off and then back on, it would start to play the default file animation, right? So every time that I turn the device off, it will start to play the default file. The file or the animation can be very long. It can have up to 24 hours. So this would be good for certain projects. As I mentioned, you don't have PC available. You will just set up the default file. And once you will turn the device on, it will start to play your animation. A more advanced feature would be to use the playlist. And in the playlist, in the web config, you can set multiple animations that will be running one by one consecutively as you will set them up. Very important is to tick this option, use playlist, and you can see immediately in the status bar that it switched from autoplay to a playlist mode. You will set up which animation you want to put onto which position and whether they should repeat. And you can set, for example, that my 5th animation I want to loop indefinitely. We will save the playlist. And if we will turn the device again off, and back on, it will play the animations from the playlist as I have put them in. So first animation 1 time, second 1 time, 4th animation it will run 3 times, and then the last animation or the 5th animation it will loop indefinitely. So that would be this animation over here. So again, this is a more advanced feature to the default file. With default file, you will only play a single animation once the device is turned on. With playlist, you will play multiple once it will get power. Don't forget, if you don't want to use the playlist, to turn it off. Always hit save playlist or save any settings, basically. Also within the web config, you've got a player available. which you can customize, which I obviously did for this device. You can customize it, or we can customize it on request. So we can change the logo and we can change the name of the animation. Standard would be that you will see 255 buttons over here with only the index of the animation, but I wanted to show you that we can even customize it. Once I will click on it, it will play the animation that I want to set. Reach out to us whether you need to customize your web player, and we can do this on request. A good use case for this would be a bar. Once again, this can be a hardwired solution, or if for example, tablet is on the same network as your controller, you can have it on the bar and your staff can change the animations according to the mood, according to the time of the day, etc. So a lot of options with the web player and also with the web config. The web config is obviously not available for SPI LED controller, but it is available for REACTIVO. But since we don't have that much time, I would again refer you to some of our previous webinars where I'm talking extensively about REACTIVO and its web config, where you can access also the player and you can set up the playlist as well. No questions, Ben? Thank you. I think that I've mentioned everything from here, and yeah, default file, playlist, you can have up to 16 animations there. Once the device is turned on, it will play either default file or the playlist that you have set up. And last but not least, there are buttons on the device, on all devices except for REACTIVO. To show you in detail, so on LEC3, you've got these two little buttons that you can use to switch between the animations that are on an SD card. The very same buttons you can use to run the test patterns whenever you are installing your controllers and your strips, but once you have the SD card inside, you can use the two small buttons to switch between different animations stored on an SD card. The very same two buttons are also on SPI LED controller, and those you can also use to scroll through animations, or if the card is not in the device, you can use this to run test patterns. So this would be a pretty old school and the simplest method how to play the effects stored on an SD card, but it's also an option. And for some cases, for some projects, this is more than enough to run your animations. And I think that would be it. If there are no questions, which there are not, I would like to once again show you where you can find all the information in regards to our devices. Head onto a wiki page. If you want to have a chat with us, write us a message. If you need a more advanced consultation in regards to your project, book a slot. Whenever we are available, we'll be more than happy to talk about your project and which devices perhaps to use, or whether our software is good enough for your project, for your event. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much for joining. In approximately 2 or 3 weeks, we will have another webinar. We will send out an email where we will announce what will be the topic. If you have any suggestions into what subject we should cover, please send us an email and we will check it out, and perhaps we will have a webinar that you have sent the subject. And I think that's really it. Thank you very much again for joining, and hopefully I will see you, hear you, and we'll be able to write you something on chat next time. Thanks again. Have a good one. Bye.